Welcome to the Published and Paid podcast, where we share book, business, leadership, and life lessons in 20 minutes or less to help you build a thought leadership brand and business. My name is Jasmine Womack. I'm a former middle school language arts teacher turned seven-figure entrepreneur, and I am glad that you are here. Let's get started. Well, welcome back to the Published and Paid podcast. And this next episode was actually pre-recorded between myself and one of our former clients, Lisa Willis, who came through one of our former programs, the Author Made Easy Bootcamp, which is now the Published and Paid Success Academy, as well as the Published and Paid Mastermind. Now, I felt that Lisa's story was so amazing because Lisa has a very, very credentialed professional career, from being in the WNBA, from being a gold medalist, to having even an amazing corporate career. But she wrote her book and then she just kind of stopped. She leaned into her career. She leaned into traveling. She let all of the speaking go. She let all of the branding go. She let it all go. And then several years later, she came back wanting to restart the work that she had been doing previously, but she wasn't quite sure how, because it had been years since she talked about anything related to her niche. She had not created any type of thought leadership. All of her content was dealing with her travels and just the journey and the documentation of her day-to-day life. And so we worked with Lisa in the Published and Paid Mastermind to help her rebuild her brand, to expand her visibility, get started speaking again, and build out coaching and consulting packages. And what happened is what you will hear in this episode. So strap up your laces, put on your seatbelts, put on your headphones, and let's get into it. All right, y'all. So welcome. This is our first installment of the Published and Paid podcast with Jasmine Womack, where we're coming to talk about everything life, business, faith, and of course, becoming published and paid. And I just want to welcome Lisa Willis. Lisa, please introduce yourself and let us know all about your book.
Yeah, so Lisa C. Willis. I am a published and paid author. Thank you, Jazz. And my book is called When the Buzzer Sounds. I have a elite level basketball background, UCLA record holder, USA gold medalist, WNBA 3-point leader, first woman to coach with the Knicks franchise. So my book essentially takes a lot of basketball or sports concepts and shows people how that translates to life. And so I help people deal with life stuff through the lens of an athlete.
I love it. And listen, you just ran down this long list of accomplishments. Like, listen, Lisa, it is such an honor to speak with you and to be able to interview you. You've been through both of the Impact University programs, the Author Made Easy Bootcamp. You came through in like 2019. And then you just graduated out of what is now the Published and Paid Mastermind. And so I just want to talk to you about your experiences and get some feedback from you. Is that cool?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. So I know we first worked together back in 2019 to write your book. And you were coming to share just based off of your experiences. What was that process like for you?
Writing the book, I kind of did it the other way. I started speaking and then I bottled it up into a book. And so I had all the content in my head and I just started writing the book, and it was flowing, but it wasn't flowing how it needed to flow. And so I joined your program when I was maybe halfway through the book, through writing the content of the book. And I was like kicking myself because your process was way easier. Like, I was like, what? Like, where has she been my whole life? Because just the tips and tricks and the organization, and even all the way down to my book title, like it just was a seamless process. And so it just made the book writing process so much easier. So when people ask, because everybody wants to write a book, so they're like, how long did it take you? Did it take forever? And that's a loaded question because part of it took forever and part of it did not take forever. So that part of the impact group was just great because it helped me finish my book writing process. But then there's a part where, and your program has evolved now, but then there's a part where you need to make money off of it.
Yeah.
And so I published my book, and the launch was okay. It would have been way better if I was in your program at the time, but the launch was okay. I made some money. The friends and families, they buy the books, and then you get a couple more faithful Facebook followers that support you as well. But then it was like a little lull, and I was just like, is this what I started a new job? And I'm like, okay, is this what I really want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, now it's time. I've been speaking for a long time. I had a book now at this point for a year and a half. Now it's time to bet on myself. And so that's when I saw your stuff, your program, and I was like, let me do the workshop. Let me do the webinar and see. And I was like, dang, I got to do it. You hit me with that price. I think maybe 3 beats skipped. At the end of it, it was time for me to bet on myself. And just from all the people that I researched, and then just me following your journey, I was like, you know what? This is the way to go. If I'm truly going to bet on myself, I can't let anything stand in the way. And I need to give myself the best chance to realize my dream, if this really is my dream. And being in the program with you, I got everything together from a coaching class to my mindset. And so it was beautiful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And thank you for sharing that. One of the things that you said was that when you came through the boot camp, you wrote the book with ease, but then it was you friends and family bought the book afterwards, and then it was crickets. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's what happens with so many people, right? So many traditional published authors, independently published authors, like there is success immediately, and then there's crickets. But that's one reason why we revamped that program to add in that sales and monetization piece. So someone with your credentials, right, might tend to think that they need to go the traditional route to write a self-published book, write and publish a book. But you went the independent publishing route. So why did you choose independent publishing over traditional publishing? And how has the self-publishing process been for you financially?
Yeah, so I went the independent route because I needed it to be my voice. We write in our voice, and then you send it to you get your publicist and your agent, and they get you a $10,000, $20,000 upfront check.
The
But then
advance.
they chop up the advance, but then they chop up the book, and it's no longer your voice. And I knew for my audience, I needed my voice to come through. Part of it is the content, but the other part is my voice. And so I'm able to, people who don't even know me, they're like, wow, I really could hear you speaking when I'm reading this. And for me, every time I get that feedback, I'm like, and that's why I published it myself. Now, financially, I've made well over $10,000, $20,000 off of this book. And so that little advance, like the sky is the limit. This is me writing this book is essentially a blank check. And you only write it one time. And then it's like, I keep getting paid on it. And I never thought, like most people, they write the book because I have something that I want to say and I need to share it with the world. No, like the book is a blank check. And if you have the pen, and essentially joining your program gave me the pen, then I could write whatever amount I want on the check. And so financially, it's been great.
All yours. All royalties are yours.
Yep. Yep.
All right. And so I know that you came through the boot camp, a few years went by. You went and got you started working at a different place and you're like, do I really want to do this the rest of my life? Then you came into the workshop and ended up joining the mastermind. And it was an investment that you had to kind of swallow like 3 times.
At least 3 times.
How did that investment pay off for you?
Oh man, I made that back already. I mean, the deals that I'm getting, the contracts that I'm getting now, I was not getting them before, and definitely not for this amount. And I wouldn't have even felt confident asking for this amount. But now I'm real gangster with it. I'm like, this is the price. And
so what were
okay.
your prices then and what are your prices now, if you're comfortable talking numbers?
Man, I mean, first of all, my price is to do what I'm doing now, if I even had the confidence to offer all of this, because one thing that I learned is that, no, I am the perfect person to do this. Prior to the program, imposter syndrome is a real thing. And so I feel confident in saying, I'm the one that you should be hiring to do this. And so if I did feel that way before, I probably would have been charging maybe $5,000 to do a program that I just got paid $20K for. And I can't see, and I kind of would have been a little apprehensive about that as well. But it's just, one thing I learned is that there's a reason why I charge what I charge. And one of the ways you helped us with our pricing is, it's like, well, I paid this much money to get coaching. I paid this much money for this experience. And all of these different experiences that I have, it costs money and they have to pay for it. And it's not like I could take it back.
Right.
Like once I speak to you, now I feel like baby Jazz. But once I speak to you, like you can't give it back. That your life is forever changed and you got to pay for that forever change. And so, yeah, now I'm like, and my prices are still going to go up. Because I learned,
absolutely.
Again, I learned from you, when you get more coaching, then you charge more money. And I'm getting more coaching and I'm charging more money. And so while I'm investing in myself to be better, I have to charge people for this. This will be the return on my investment. So I have to charge it.
Absolutely. So we know it's not all glows. There are some grows in the process. Would you like to share one of the major grows that you experienced and learned throughout your process?
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that I had to learn was, I don't want to be you. That was tough because you give us the juice to do exactly what you do on a fast track and skip some of the lessons or some of the barriers that you had, some of the hardships. And I'm doing it and I wasn't fulfilled. I had to say, and it didn't feel like me. So I had to really sit back and say, this is just a blueprint. You don't have to run the full play, but just the actions. These are the actions. This is the mindset. This is how you move forward. And once I got that and I found your own sauce, identity, my own sauce. Oh, it was Gucci. But it took a while because everybody out there, I fall in the category of everybody looking for that blueprint, everybody having this gift inside and they want somebody to come and coach them to greatness, take me through the finish line. And you want to follow just as it's going to be. But I think I even told you, I don't want to be you
found out that you didn't like coaching. You were like, I don't want to do that.
That's not me. That is not me. And so that was difficult because even though your program is a coaching program, I tell you and I tell everybody else, it's the mindset part. You could get all the tools that you need to be great. But one thing that really helped me was the mindset. And that was just a lesson that I had to learn. You can't copy Jazz. There's only going to be one Jazz. But how do I take this and use these principles and this mindset and persevere? Because it started off slow for me. but I kept going, and I had to prove to myself that I can be committed to my growth, even if it's not in terms of basketball. And it worked out.
And one of the things that I also believe was a grow that you turned into a glow, right? Was that you learned how to create curriculum in the mastermind.
Yeah.
And with that, you end up creating a coaching program, but you didn't use that. What did you do to sell to the schools?
To sell to the schools, I had a workbook. I created a workbook. And since the moment I wrote my book, I knew I wanted a companion workbook to go with it. And so through the program, I used a lot of those things that I learned for creating the coaching program. I use a lot of those things to actually create my workbook. And it's working out beautifully.
I love it. I love it. And one of the reasons why I am so excited for you and so proud of you, and I believe we've had other students that have come through the mastermind said this too, like, listen, do it and then take it and make it your own. And that's exactly what you did. And literally, for what made one investment, you're getting that in every single contract now. I just want to give you a word of encouragement to always, always believe in your sauce. Like you bringing it, Lisa, and anyone who has the opportunity to sit in the room in which you're speaking, they have the opportunity to sit in the midst of greatness. And I want you to know that. And I want you to believe that and walk in that continuously. All right. So listen, please let everybody know where they can connect with you, where they can grab a copy of your book, where they can check out your services. If you are in school administration, you're a principal, you're an assistant principal, a counselor, superintendent who may be listening to this, and let everybody know what you coach on, what you teach on in the schools, and let everybody know where they can connect with you.
Yeah, awesome. So the two big things that I talk about is resiliency. Everybody, if you are alive and breathing, you need to be resilient. So I talk about that, and I talk about mindset in terms of mental performance. So, I mean, we're all trying to win in this game of life. So you need to have the right mindset. On Instagram, Lisa Willis 40. You can follow me there. And then my website is lisacwillis.com. And so you could contact me at contact@lisacwillis.com. And you can get a hard copy of my book on my website.
All right. Y'all make sure you connect with Lisa. And Lisa, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you, Jazz. You're the best.
Most def.